Hello everyone, today's topic is Shneiderman's 8 golden rules for interface design. So start with the introduction. Golden rules of heuristics provide a convenient and brief summary of the key principles of interface design. If any designer follows these simple rules while designing will produce a good design. There are different types of rules such as first one, Shneiderman's 8 golden rules. Then Norman's 7 principles and Nelson's 10 heuristics. Next, let us see the reason behind using the Shneiderman's 8 golden rules. So, some introductory part is there. Ben Shneiderman, an American computer scientist, consolidated some implicit facts about designing and came up with 8 general guidelines. These guidelines are beneficial for normal designers as well as interface designers. Also beneficial in experimental assessment of identifying better GUIs. Apple, Google, Microsoft are among some of the highly successful companies whose well-designed product reflects Shneiderman's rules. The characteristics derived from Shneiderman's golden rules can be recognized in various user interface guidelines produced by corporate giants like the companies Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc. So you have to design the qualityful graphical user interface by using these rules. Okay, so by using these rules, any designer can design better interfaces. Okay, so that is the reason behind that. Next, so there are total 8 Shneiderman's golden rules. First one is strive for consistency, then enable users to use shortcuts. Next, offer informative feedback. Next, design dialog to yield closure. Next, offer error prevention and simple error handling. Next, permit easy reversal of actions. Next, support internal locus of control. And last one is reduce short-term memory load. So let us see in detail one by one. Rule first is strive for consistency. So we already know consistency about the consistency. So let us see what is the strive for consistency. Consistent sequence of action should be required in similar situations. Identical terminology should be used in prompts, menus and help screens, and consistent commands should be employed throughout. Okay, so meaning of this is you have to do the changes in the system but in very less manner. Okay, don't do the drastic changes in the system. Okay, if you are doing the major changes in that system, so what will happen, you either have to learn that changes to use the system and that will be the complicated, or if efforts is more to use that system, then it will not the good design interface. Okay, so what is our HCI goal is to make the system easy to use. Okay, and less effort from the user side to use that system. Okay, so for that you can take the example. The first example is menu bar of Mac OS. So if you observe, the graphical elements of Mac OS is similar, that is consistent. Okay, if you take the version of 1980s with the same version of 2010, so in both the versions the basic graphical elements of the Mac OS is similar, consistent, there is no change in that. Okay, and the user is familiar with that already, so he need not to change the way of use of that OS. Okay, so that is the example of menu bar of the Mac OS. Then second example is Instagram. So Instagram is also easy to use for the user. Okay, so we already know for the like the picture, we have to just tap double. Okay, so it will get like automatically. Then scrolling enables seeing the most recent post. Can view the stories, tap and hold on the story, pauses it. Next, so here you can see in the diagram the functionality is there. Okay, functionality of the Instagram is there. Easily can edit the profile and do the changes, whatever changes user wants. He can easily go into the profile and easily do the changes. Okay, so here the thing is very simple. If the user want to like that picture, then simply have to double click on that picture, it will get liked. Okay, so it is the good design. Okay, so opposite to that, what will be the bad design? If we have the option, okay, to like this picture, there are the three dots on the right topmost of the corner. Select that three dot. After that, there is a options. In that you have to select one option. In that, again from that option select again next option. Okay, and after that you will get the like option, then click on that, and after that picture will get clicked on the like. Okay, so that will be the bad design. Okay, but here we have to maintain the consistency. Okay, so here it is the best example to click the double on the picture and it will get like. Okay, so it is very basic and it is very useful, and it need to be maintained like Mac OS, Windows OS already have maintained, okay, for their user. So it is very useful. I hope you will understand. Strive for consistency with the example. Go for the next. Rule number 2: enable user to use shortcuts. Recognize the needs of diverse users and design for plasticity. Universal design strive to cater to as wide range of human users of different characteristics such as age, culture, educational level, and disability, etc. with single design. As the frequency of use increases, so do the users desire to reduce the number of interactions and to increase the pace of interaction. An example for this is a keyboard accelerator, shortcut keys, abbreviations, function keys, etc. Okay, so if you have seen some tasks you wanted to do in past, so there are some keyboard shortcuts, some abbreviations, some simple commands are there. All these things when we giving to the user in the form of shortcut, then they are performing and executing their task quickly, and which is very important property that should be there in every interface design. You can take Windows and Mac OS as an example. In that you are getting you get the option, okay, for copy Control C, for paste Control V, for save Control S. Okay, like this you are getting the options. To lock the window, you can simply press the uh, icon of the Windows and L, so it will get locked. Okay, so that is the you enable user to use the shortcuts, and nowadays you are using that. Okay, next, rule number 3 is offer informative feedback. Okay, so for every user action there should be an system feedback. For frequent and minor actions the response can be modest, whereas for infrequent and major actions the response should be more substantial. Visual presentation of the objects of interest provides a convenient environment for showing changes explicitly. Next, example for this is, okay, so here we can take the example. Suppose if you are doing anything with your system, okay, so whatever you are doing with that, you must get the feedback of that for every action simply you are performing, and that feedback should be in the human understandable and human readable form. It is very important. The time should be reasonable. The response time expected is if 1 second, and if you are getting the response in 1 minute, then it is not the good design. Okay, so whatever feedback is there, it should be formative, meaningful, okay, and human readable and understandable, and within reasonable time. So it should be passed to the user, so that whatever be the next procedure, user can proceed with that or can take the action. Okay, so for that, the in the example the picture is shown. Okay, so in that, uh, when error is coming in the form of coding as it is showing in the figure. Okay, so now the user don't know what is mean of that error code, because there is a possibility might be he is not from the technical background. Okay, so it is very bad design, because it is not meaningful information. Okay, it is not human understandable form, because some human can understand, those who have the technical background, but the people who don't have any technical background, they can't understand. So that's why it is not the good design. Okay, so it should be written, okay, in the understandable form. Okay, error should be described in the very good form. Okay, why that error came, by which action of user that error came, all this information when comes in that message in the proper way, then at that time we can say that it is a really informative feedback. Okay, so this thing should have in the interface design, as these are the very important for the interface design. Next, the fourth rule is design dialog to yield closure. Sequence should be organized into groups with a beginning, middle, and end. The informative feedback at the completion of a group of action gives users the satisfaction of accomplishment, a sense of relief, a signal to drop contingency plans from their minds, and an indicator to prepare for the next group of actions. Okay, so what is the mean of that? Okay, simply don't keep your user in the guessing mode. Okay, give him some confirmation. You have performed this action, that's why you have received this result. Okay, now you are at this stage of the process. For example, okay, if you are installing any software, or uh, in figure you can see system updation. Okay, so system is updating, so it is showing the how much percentage it is updated and how much percentage it is remaining. In the second image you can see copying the files, so it is showing the status, how much percentage is completed and how much percentage remaining, or how much files are copied and how much are remaining. Even time calculation also is showing. So here, what is the main motto, that don't keep your user in the guessing mode. Okay, if for example you started the software installation and internally it is installing, so user is thinking that, or guessing that till the time maybe 10% or 20% installation is done. Okay, and maybe 80% is remaining. Okay, so don't keep your user in that situation or in that guessing mode. Okay, give him the clear idea, like it is showing in the figure, so that he can easily understand that that much of percentage is completed and that much of percentage is remaining. Even time calculation also it is showing, so he can easily understand that the within this time it will get completed. Okay, so it is, this information is like the dialogue. Okay, it is like conversation which is getting carried out between the system and the user, and is the efficient way of interaction of interface design. Okay, and should be there. Next, fifth rule is offer error prevention and simple error handling. Okay, so as much as possible design the interface so that users cannot make serious error. If user make an error, the interface should offer simple, constructive and specific construction for recovery. Okay, so example is there here. Okay, user should not have to retype entire name address form if they enter an invalid zip code, but rather should be guided to repair only the faulty part. Erroneous action should leave the interface state unchanged, or the interface should give instruction about restoring the state. Okay, so if by mistakenly user is entering the invalid or wrong zip code, so zip code is at the middle level. Okay, so at that level the user should get the offer to repair that fault. Okay, at the same time don't send him to back or don't start, okay, from the beginning. Okay, don't ask to him start from the beginning, because it will be the again the repeat process from the starting. So allow him at that point to repair that fault. Okay, so that is the uh, offer error prevention and simple error handling. Next, rule number 6, permit easy reversal of actions. Okay, so as much as possible, action should be reversible. This feature relieves anxiety since users know that error can be undone and encourages exploration of unfamiliar options. The units of reversibility may be a single action, a data entry task, or a complete group of actions such as entry of a name address block. It is an instant relief to find that undo option after mistake is made. Okay, so here what is the thing? The thing is that permit to the user for the easy reversal of action. Okay, an example for this is undo. Okay, if for example, if user, suppose by mistake user not fill the required information. Okay, everybody have filled the online application form. Okay, so some fields are mandatory in that. Okay, and by mistake if one uh, mandatory field is blank uh, by the user. Okay, so if he left the that mandatory field blank, so what will happen? He will get the error. Okay, but at the same time he should have the permission of easy reversal of actions. Okay, otherwise what happens, the user is doing the mistake. Okay, and he leaves the blank the mandatory field. Okay, and after that he is trying to submit the form and it is not get submitted or not get processed. Okay, so what is happening, user is getting confused that why it is not happening. Okay, so he should be redirected at that point. Okay, when he is trying to submit, at that time it will get redirected to that error that this is an mandatory field you have not filled. Okay, to submit, fill this field. Okay, so that you can submit. So in this way, if he gets the easy permission to uh, reversal of action, so that he can easily fill up the details. Okay, so you already have used the undo option, so you can easily understand. Next, rule number 7 is support internal locus of control. Experienced users strongly desire the sense that they are in charge of the interface and that the interface respond to their action. Design system to make users the initiator of the actions rather than the responder. So what is the mean of that? Okay, here you have to give the one type of field to the user. Okay, you are the only the initiator. Okay, whole system is in your control. Okay, so like this happening with the interface, then what will happen, it will build the trust on the system. Okay, so it will increase, because whatever the user is doing, he feels like that whole system is in his control. No one is internally in the backside seated who is controlling. Okay, only the user controlling. Okay, so it builds the trust. Okay, so he comes to know that he is the person who can control it only. Okay, so when it builds the trust, okay, so that trust is important for one good interface design. Okay, so one type of feel you have to give to the user, okay, that you are the only initiator and you are controlling whole the system. No one is interfering in that, only you are the initiator and you are controlling everything. So okay, so that is the support internal locus of control. Next, reduce rule number 8 is reduce short term memory load. Okay, the limitation of human information processing in short term memory requires that displays be kept simple, multiple page display be consolidated, windows motion frequency be reduced, and sufficient training time be allotted for course mnemonics and sequence of actions. Okay, so here what you have to do, don't give the load on the user's memory. Okay, make things simple, sophisticated, readable, don't make it complex. Okay, in interface, because it is short term memory, many less things that happened recently is stored in that. Okay, so due to that, what you have to focus on simple things. Okay, ignore the complex things. Okay, if you have screen of your mobile in front of you, then max to max 5 to 6 icons should be there on screen. Okay, to keep that screen as simple. And one more thing, give the importance to the recognition instead of recall. Okay, so here you have to give the more importance to the recognition instead of recall. So now what is recognition? Okay, so simply clue is given, okay, to you. On the basis of that, okay, clue, you have to retrieve the information on the basis of that clue. Okay, you are trying to recognize something, some kind of information which is in your brain. Okay, so it is easy task and have to give the easy task to user. Don't give user, okay, task to user for recall. Okay, now what is recall? Recall is, okay, you have to go in deep, okay, to retrieve the information. That is very difficult task. Okay, for example, everybody have given the examination. So in examination there are two types of questions are coming. One is MCQ type, that is multiple choice questions, and the second one is explain in details. Okay, so which questions are simple? Obviously multiple choice questions are simple. Okay, so in that what you have to do, you have to recognize the answer, okay, on the basis of the information, because four option given to you, from that you have to recognize some information, you have to retrieve, and on the basis of that you have to take the answer from that four options. But when it is asked to explain in detail, okay, question is for same marks or more marks. Okay, but here you have to reproduce the information from your brain so that you can write in detail on answer sheet. Okay, so here recognition should be given more importance over the recall. Okay, and that is the very important point. Okay, so I hope you understand all the 8 points, okay, or 8 golden rules of the Shneidermans. So thank you.